In this video, I plan on showing you how to change out the front tire of a VTX 1300. To start off, I've got the bike jacked up part way. The front tire is still touching. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to quickly loosen these pinch bolts on both sides. But before we do that, we're going to remove the axle nut on this side. Once we've done that, undo the pinch bolts, and then we should be able to pull the axle bolt out. Once we've done that, we're going to raise the bike slowly. I will have a second hand to help me kind of guide the front tire out of the front fender and the brake caliper. So I'm not going to do anything to remove the brake caliper at all. Do keep in mind you've got a wider spacer on the right hand side of the bike and the smaller spacer on the left side. So let me get started and have the front tire removed from the bike. I have removed the axle. I always apply Moly 60 paste from Honda. It's going to get all over your hands. You want to make sure you put that away on some newspaper or something so that you don't end up leaving a mark anywhere. It's pretty hard to clean off once you get on something. So just make sure you put it on something that you can discard away. We're going to go ahead and clean the axle afterwards, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and cover it up. I've got the axle out, so now I'm just going to start raising the bike slowly and have the wheel separated from the bike. Here I have the tire pulled out. It has moved past the rim, the caliper, and it is pretty much free to come out. So my next task is going to secure the bike on the stand so that it does not go anywhere while we are working. Okay, I've used the strap, as you can see here, to secure the bike on the stand. Not a lot of pressure needs to be put on there, but just something that's snug enough to hold the bike from shifting. Goes down to the stand on the other side. I've gone ahead and also removed the spacers from both sides of the tires. Both sides of the rim. And our next task is going to be to remove the tire from the rim itself. For that, first step is going to be letting all of the air out of the tire, and then the next step is going to be breaking the seal of the tire on this side. We want to keep the disc side up so that we don't end up damaging the disc, and I'll show you how I plan on breaking the bead. Okay, so I was not able to break the bead myself, so I ended up having to take it to a shop here that I could find that was open today on Sunday on Memorial Weekend, and I had to beg them to just please break the bead for me on one side, and then I took care of the rest at home. It's actually pretty easy to break the bead. I'm not sure exactly why I was having so much problems breaking the bead. There's a couple of methods that people use. One of them is to, on a flat tire, you stick a piece of wood on the one end. You don't need the rim protector, obviously. You're not going to be able to use that at that time. And then you put it like a few inches away from the side of the car. You put a crowbar. I have a 6-foot long bar that I used. You wedge it underneath the car on this side. It goes over the block on this side, and then you push down on the back side, and that should break the bead pretty easily because you end up applying quite a bit of force that way. However, I wasn't able to do that. The second method is to drive your car tire on this edge, and you bring it very close to the rim, and then you drive off of the tire. Pretty much the tire bead should break once your tire gets in the middle, but it wasn't working out that way either. So I ended up having to take it to, like I said, a local shop that was kind enough to just simply break the bead for me because they weren't willing to change the tire out. So that's basically it. Once that was broken, you pretty much come home, flip the tire onto the other side of the rim, you step on the bead, and if you have to, you can use a sledgehammer, hit it all the way around. You end up breaking the second bead. Once you've done that, you basically put in these rim protectors, use tire rods, and then you basically stick it in, pry it, hold it down, then you basically slide in the second one through the bead, and you break it through. Once you've done that, you basically try to see if you can move it across, and then you work your way around the tire, and sooner or later this will pop off. Once you've done that, you repeat the same process for the lower edge of the tire. Using tie rods, simply from the top, it comes off fairly easy. I guess the first time you may struggle a little bit, but we do them so infrequently, I ended up struggling either way. Anyhow, so now that I've got my tire off, what I am going to do now is clean my rim up, and then I'm going to go through here, as you can see, use steel wool, clean all of this out, because this is what's going to seal the tire. You do it to both edges, and I'm going to go ahead and clean all this grit that's on the back side, clean up my rim down here in between. Once I've done that, then the next thing I'm going to look at is the wheel bearings. I've got the front tire off, might as well should be checking the wheel bearings. You basically spin them, and you make sure that you don't hear any grinding sounds. If not, then you're good to go. Otherwise, get yourselves a set of all balls wheel bearings, and you should be good for life again. So I'm still running my original OEM bearings, and then like I said, once I get the tire cleaned, I'll then go and check the wheel bearings, and I'll share with you what I find. So it's time to get the rim cleaned. Okay, so I went ahead and set one side of the tire in. As you can see, the bottom lip was pushed in. It's pretty easy to get most of it around, and then what you do from, let's say it gets stuck from this point to this point, you just basically force it down with your hand, and then use a rubber mallet to force the rest of it. You do want to make sure that you do lube this side of the tire so that it finds it easy for it to pass over the first lip, the upper lip. So now what we're going to do is do the second one. So I'm going to go ahead and apply a good amount of soapy water on the lip here, and then I'm going to make sure that I do it on the rim itself, and then we'll just start pushing it down over, and then after that we'll start using the tire irons to force the rest of it away in. One thing I did do is I did keep the tire out in the sun all day, so it's pretty warm, so it helps get on. For those of you who are buying the Avon Road Rider, you want to make sure that the direction of the turn in which the tire rotates is the correct rotation. So this is the disc side, this is the left side, so the tire is going to spin in this direction. So you just want to make sure that you have the spin direction correct. So that's basically it. This is the 140/80 V17 69V Avon Road Rider. I got 20,000 miles out of this one, and I'm gonna go ahead and use it again. So let me get the upper bead over the edge of the rim. Okay, so I have now soaped up the edges on both sides. Now we're gonna set the seal or the bead on the tire. So we're just gonna pump it up till we hear everything pop into place. Okay, so now we have the bead set. You want to hear for 2 pops. You want to hear a pop for one side, and then you will hear the pop for the other side. In our case, the seal on the bottom popped first, and then you could see the seal set all the way around, and then it was bubbling in one spot. It bubbled until it popped in. And once that's set, you are pretty much ready to go. What we are going to do now is balance the tire. I'm not going to use weights to balance. I'm going to use some beads. I'm going to use about, I think, 2 ounces of the Dyna beads. These are ceramic beads. You can get them glass beads. For that, what we're going to do now is deflate the tire. We're going to go ahead and remove the inside of the air valve here, so that we can then install the beads through that. So let me go ahead and remove the valve, and then we'll let the air out, and then I'll get my hose ready to install the beads. Okay, so to install the Dyna beads that I had, they're these small ceramic white beads right there. I've got this thing rigged up right here. Got a black pipe with a small funnel attached to the thing. Ideally, you want to have a clear tube. I couldn't find my clear tube, so can you hold this? Yeah, so basically in the vertical position, I'm dropping beads in while I am knocking this thing here. The only reason why you want to keep knocking the nozzle here is so that the beads do not stop and collect, so you keep them flowing through. So that's basically it. I've gone ahead and dropped in all of my beads, so I'm good to go ahead and reinstall the valve. And once I've installed that, then I'm going to go ahead and set it up to my 40 psi pressure, and we'll get ready to install the wheel. I did go ahead and check the wheel bearings, and everything is rolling smoothly. So the next thing is going to get the axle cleaned up, re-lubed up with the Moly Poly, and then I should be ready to reinstall the tire. I've got the front wheel installed. I've got the axle through on both sides. I've got the proper spacers. Got the wide one on the left-hand side, right-hand side, and the narrow one on the right-hand side. I did end up having to remove my brake pads. For some reason I couldn't get them through this time. But I'll go ahead and install them, and I'll show you how to do that. I did not take the caliper off. Now the thing is we need to align this mark that is on the edge of the axle bolt. We need to line it up with the face of this face, and then we need to tighten the pinch bolts to 16 pounds-feet. Once we've done that, then we need to come on the other side and tighten the axle bolt to 43 pound-feet. Once we've done that, then we tighten the remaining 2 pinch bolts on the right fork to 16 pound-feet, and we're ready to start rolling then. Basically that's it. So after this, I'll show you how to install the brake pads. Okay, so in this part of the video I'm going to show you how to install the brake pads. You're going to slide this brake pad in through like this, and you will see where my finger is. You'll see the brake pad come up. Can you zoom in? In here you'll see the lip. So you push the lip down and into a slot, and then over here you will see that this hole will line up. Once that hole's lined up, we're going to go ahead and slide this front pad in as well. and it will, you can see that it will fall into place and these holes should line up. So you just have to play with it and try to get those lined up. And from the top, you'll be able to see the orange or the copper color. And then from this side, you'll be able to see the copper color. That shows you where the brake pad will sit. So with that in place, I'll go ahead and try to get Alright, so we've got that slid through. So that pretty much holds the pads in place. So we've got the pads installed, and as you can see, there's no issues here with the spinning of the tire. So that's basically it.